Among grievances, PNGTA call for further delay to resumption of classes. Members of Parliament pay their respects to late Richard Mendani. And SB Hunters renew rivalry clash with Falcons.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Seah.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Wednesday's news. The PNG Teachers Association is demanding authorities dealing with PNG's COVID-19 response to further delay the resumption of duties for teachers in the country. Schools are scheduled to resume next Monday and teachers expected to return to work, but the association says there is no guarantee that safety protocols against COVID-19 will be followed. Upon conclusion of its first National Management Committee meeting for 2021 in Port Moresby today, association executives expressed these concerns during a media conference at Gateway Hotel.
With first-term school holidays brought forward last month to enable a one-month closure of classes due to a surge in COVID-19 cases in the country, Term 2 of the 2021 school calendar is scheduled to resume on 19th April. However, given the intensity of the current situation, the PNG Teachers Association is concerned about the safety of its teachers.
Indefinite delay of resumption for Term 2 on 19th April. Delay resumption of duties as there is no guarantee of safety and protocols for the teachers issued by National Department of Education and Teaching Service Commission as employer in the event a teacher is affected or is dead. Founding of PPE, personal protective equipment, sanitizers like these ones, etc. We are increased school subsidy. Vaccination of teachers should be made known to them before they enter the classroom. Teaching Service Commission and the Education Secretary, have they prepared such things here? Or have they fund extra money to each school? Because there's a lot of money coming from COVID-19, foreign aid. Government is providing. What's happening to teachers and schools?
I'm challenging the Secretary of Education and the TSC acting chairman and acting policy commissioner. On Monday, you go to the classroom and teach. Our teachers, they're going to stay out. Because we told you in the first wave of COVID-19 that teachers' rights, teachers' welfare are paramount. You never took heed. You went on to just suspend classes for 4 weeks. Some provinces like Western Highlands, it's 6 weeks. We have never seen any instruction from the Ministry of Education, the Department of Education, and the TSC, no instruction telling us what the teachers are going to do.
Other related demands include funding of PPEs via increased school subsidies and that vaccination of teachers should be made known to them before they enter the classroom.
My teachers and headmasters, they are well people. They have all the things that they can arrange. If government can provide risk allowances, headmasters will make that they can change. They can have classes, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, to make sure that each subject must be taught. That's teachers. But government provide necessary assist to teachers.
The union body also demands that risk allowances must be paid to teachers as they are vulnerable to COVID-19 since school children attend class daily, having been exposed to a wider community. Due to numerous disruptions to school classes since the COVID-19 pandemic reached Papua New Guinea in 2020, the teacher-to-student ratio is now higher than normal, 1:45, after parents were given permission by the National Department of Education to withdraw their children last year to repeat this year. The PNGTA, through the National Management Committee, is calling on the Teaching Service Commission, National Department of Education, the national government and relevant authorities to respond to their demands within a 24-hour ultimatum. The union executives say failure to comply with their demands within the said time frame would result in PNGTA taking industrial action through the Office of the Industrial Registrar to continue dialogue for a possibility of a nationwide strike by teachers. Dennis Orere, National EMTV News.
The casket of Richard Mendani, the late MP representing Kerema Open, was brought to Parliament this morning for members of Parliament and other dignitaries to pay their final respects. Only close relatives and dignitaries were allowed in due to COVID-19 restrictions. Gertrude Gabi reports.
The arrival of the hearse of the late member for Kerema at the Parliament House was followed by a small group, including his family and relatives. The public was not allowed due to COVID-19 restrictions. A small procession followed with the casket, making its way into the Grand Hall of the National Parliament. After the casket was placed in the Grand Hall, Prime Minister James Marape and parliamentary delegates, including Australian High Commissioner to PNG, John Philp, entered the hall for the viewing. This was followed by other dignitaries and relatives of late MP Richard Mendani. The former member passed away on March 20, 2021 due to complications related with the coronavirus. He served his people of Kerema Open for 1 term and died while serving his 2nd term. Gertrude Gabi, National EMTV News.
COVID-19 confirmed cases have reached over 8,000 since Tuesday, 13th of April, and the death toll stands at 71. The surge in COVID patients has caused hospitals in NCD to appeal for help from businesses and multinationals. Among other donors in recent weeks, the Miss Pacific Islands pageant PNG Today donated necessities for patients at the COVID wards in NCD.
With the increasing number of COVID-19 patients in NCD, Miss Pacific Islands pageant PNG through their Give Back program donated biscuits and water bottles sponsored by Paradise Foods and fresh fruits to COVID wards in Port Moresby General Hospital, Rita Flynn and Tarama Aquatic Centre.
In the daily news, we hear that there is an increase in COVID-19 cases. We are concerned and would like to assist in whatever way we can through our Give Back program.
POMGEN as well as other COVID wards in NCD are flooding with COVID-19 patients and are in dire need of support.
I love the gesture to see how the community have reacted to our appeal. And not only just major corporate companies, individuals have actually contributed from their own funding.
POMGEN have received many donations from businesses and multinationals through their Friends of POMGEN program, which has been tasked to seek community support for essential items required by the hospital. Papua New Guinea has recorded 2 new COVID-19 deaths yesterday, increasing the total number of COVID-related deaths to 71. A total of 170 new cases were reported from 13 provinces, bringing the nation's total to 8,984. Esther Thailam, National EMTV News.
Experts from the medical field in PNG have given their views on the vaccination rollout in the country. They were supportive of the vaccine, saying the AstraZeneca vaccine, like any other vaccine, will help prevent this virus. They were speaking during the panel discussion facilitated by the UPNG Student Representative Council recently.
The medical experts were speaking to the student body and stakeholders on the effects of COVID-19 and AstraZeneca vaccine. The aim is to clarify misinformation circulating on social media and the AstraZeneca vaccination rollout, and they were supportive of the vaccination rollout program in the country.
We need a vaccine to prevent people from getting sick themselves and to prevent people from spreading it around the community.
Following the government's plan to roll out the AstraZeneca vaccine in the country, citizens took to social media questioning the vaccine. They were concerned if the vaccines are safe to use in the country, following reports of side effects being reported in other countries. Professor John Vince explained, saying the vaccines are safe and they are being used around the world.
They want to make sure that they get these reports. They want to make sure that it's not related to the vaccine. But what the newspapers don't show is that 3 days later, these countries have started using the vaccine again because they've had a look at all the data, very, 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 very careful. They've got all the fancy
evidence in Europe and UK and now in Australia and now also in Papua New Guinea who've had the vaccine. And they're responding in exactly the same way as we would expect.
The experts further explained that among other vaccines developed, 3 vaccines were approved. However, the AstraZeneca vaccine was approved to be rolled out in PNG as it is DNA-based and stable. They further explained the vaccines that are to be rolled out through the COVAX facility, saying they have been involved in rolling out other vaccines in the country for many years.
There are only 3 that have been fully approved by the World Health Organization. There may well be half a dozen more within the next 6 months. But these are the only 3, and of those 3, the AZ vaccine is by far the most suitable and practical for use in Papua New Guinea.
The efficacy might be as high as 90%. The Pfizer vaccine and Moderna vaccines might have efficacy as high as 90% compared to 79% efficacy for our AstraZeneca vaccine. But because you cannot maintain the cold chain, a 90% efficacy in US coming to Papua New Guinea and going to village remote in Papua New Guinea, and by the time it goes into someone's arm, it could be zero efficacy because we did not maintain the minus 70 degrees Celsius cold chain that is a requirement of this vaccine.
Chief Physician Dr. Sam Yokupua encouraged people to be safe and not to be sick in this period. He says though people are vaccinated, they can contract other diseases.
You need to go and stay close to the TB patient and sleep with them, and then we have to take the necessary precautions, even though we've got the vaccines. So yes, we've been immunized, but if we don't protect ourselves, we can expose ourselves and get a TB. Exactly the same mechanism. Even though we get vaccinated, we must still do the necessary to prevent, getting the infection or giving to others. So,
Rayon Lakingu National, MTV News.
The acting managing director of Kumul Telecom Holdings, Jesse Wangua, says Kalang Advertising, or FM100, is still fully operational. This follows concerns after 20 of its officers were confirmed with coronavirus and are now undergoing isolation. In a statement, the board confirmed its meeting with the management of FM100 to iron out issues which stem from the outbreak as workers petitioned KTH regarding their welfare in health. Strict measures are now enforced with a minimal personnel allowed in for work, while staff at home will still be on the payroll. Fumigation activities will commence this week. You're watching National EMTV News. We'll continue with more after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Members of the newly established PNG Road Fund Board were sworn in this afternoon at the Works Department headquarters. Works Minister Michael Nali says this is a reform taken to align roadworks under the current procurement process. The board is chaired by Finance Secretary Dr. Ken Nangan.
Today marks a significant milestone for the government to ensure road projects are supported with a sustainable system of funding. The establishment of the PNG Road Fund Board will play this critical role for road maintenance programs in the country. Minister responsible Michael Nali says this is a reform embarked by the department.
Upon identifying the needs for road maintenance, road upgrading, and if the fund does grow big, it can also pick up some major infrastructure development in the country, which will be decided by this board.
Do promise and declare that
6 members of the board took their oath in front of celebrant and senior magistrate Samson Tatakali. The board will be chaired by Finance Secretary Dr. Ken Nangan, including secretaries from Works, Transport and National Planning as board members. A major pointer for the board is to grow funding for sustainable use in the sector.
The funds that we get from the national appropriation is normally not enough to cater for for the upkeeping of our roads. So using this act, the board then will be able to come up with means and ways to raise funds. Important issue here is accountability.
The board is expected to work with provincial and districts to ensure roadworks are included in the funding development strategy. The board will also ensure every kina invested in road projects is of value to the user by undertaking technical and performance audit. In short, funding for roadworks must result in better roads and must benefit road users.
We will do our best to ensure that the road fund grows and ensure that the accountability requirements, the management of the funds is managed transparently and independently of any political influence, as you've said. And I can assure the people of Papua New Guinea that the road fund board that is now sworn in, seated in front of me, have the credibility, the credence to ensure that fund will be managed well and funds applied to the financing of the construction, maintenance of roads throughout the country.
The PNG Road Fund Board is established under an Act of Parliament. Jack Lapawa Jr., National EMTV News.
The construction of a new road in the Wine Arab LLG in Morbes Nawai district has begun and will benefit more than 8,000 people in the area. For the past 17 years, locals have been making 2-hour walks to access health services at the nearest center because there are no roads. This concern was brought to the attention of Nawai District Development Authority that stepped in to assist.
This group of young women and men were on their way to the village in South Wine Arab LLG to deliver medical supplies to their only aid post when we met them. It takes 2 days to bring supplies from the Torawa Health Center to the village to serve the people there. The supplies last for 2 weeks. They said they have to cross 2 big rivers. Their only escort is this young man who helps them.
Housing staff, health facility staff, people like that, no workman. I think close to the staff, sometimes 10 to 20 years about.
The very sick people, especially pregnant women, are often carried by the locals to get to Torawa Health Center or to Leisengal Hospital. The cash crops, including coffee, are often packed in a 20 kg bag and carried on their shoulders for 4 hours to the roadside access to get on a PMV.
Arab away and long blab I think close to 4 plawod me access him lo kamantap. Now lo here some access some bagarap. Me got 3 plawod is backside. 3 plawod is backside. Me got plenty something and stuff. Economy, we got big coffee garden stuff.
This has been the way of survival for 17 years until the concern was brought to the attention of Nawai District Development Authority.
So it's just road tasol. And we planning, this time we talk about maintenance and baka a new cut.
A new 2-kilometer road is currently being constructed. This will allow vehicles, including PMVs, to access the road and will benefit a population of over 8,000. It will be extended to the villages after proper construction is done on this part of the cut-off road at Bayang.
Promise of a day now, I talk long. Kisimbek, Papua New Guinea. By me Kisimbek or some copy by me Kisimbek, yeah, na cardlon, tamblo, cardlo, yeah. Copy long, Hamas Batani come down here. Copy the wet bin come along dry bin. Now you go down and make him grain bin. Now you go long up. Now you go buy him yen or buy him dollar or buy him all good in a carry me come to country. Contribution by Kamlo when by Kamlo Kasan. And by Kamlo South. Come down. Now time just a load you come up. You got excess stuff. I must but 10 you go now buy me go now. Pick up long this like economy must come up.
Former Nawai MP Wesley Zuranuk says Wine Arab Road is difficult to maintain because of its geography.
This plan, no easy plan road. Bless him, no good. All man have been pulling doja. district all pulim la habia warai sablong nya. O pulim go antal mam lo wan me hatumas.
100,000 milusim long. Kalama Prisla, na mi kam lulu go sem mi no 100,000 close to 300,000 or 200,000 lo Kalama Prisla. So mi ba kisimo sample engineer blow works, lo engineer we private engineer, only come na study go through you give course straight na ba mi pay ECEC lo mi Kalama Prisla.
Julie Badui, OA, National EMTV News.
The Lay Secondary School continues to launch infrastructure projects to better the learning environment. Principal Christopher Raymond says it is part of his vision, which is being supported by the school board and governing council. Today, the school opened 2 more new classrooms. This building initially housed 8 classrooms and has now extended to cater for 2 more classrooms and additional ablution blocks. The extension is the latest project at the Lay Secondary School. Mr. Raymond said having new infrastructure will boost learning for teachers and students, and he is expecting teachers to provide results. He also thanked the construction company Green Energy and Engineering Limited for their support towards building the classroom. While the students are out of school due to the COVID-19 restrictions, the grade 10s will be welcomed with new classrooms when they resume.
It should translate into something, and what it should translate to as much as possible and as much as I want is actually translating into academic excellence or higher performance, and that is my vision as the principal of this school.
Long-term partnership one time this last school na school administration na principal ng year mibla luki mo sa mat na dream blong olong kirabim bisla country emi making mibla amamas long work one time vision blong principal na board of management long this school.
Members of the New Ireland Provincial Health Authority Board inspected the Tinkoris Hospital over the weekend. The officials were impressed with the progress of the health facility. The hospital is also fully complemented with accommodation quarters for doctors and nursing staff. The hospital will service some 40,000 plus population of Namatanai district. The total cost of the Tinkoris Hospital is 18 million kina, funded by the New Ireland Provincial Government. China Harbour Engineering and Zenith Construction are working together to complete the project. Construction work began in 2018. A 12-year-old girl, Brina Mape, was reported missing by her parents today. Speaking to EMTV, Brina's mother said the family resides at 9 Mile in the nation's capital and that they have been searching for Brina for the past 2 days. While the matter has been reported at the Boroko police station, Brina's mother, Carol Mape, says her daughter went missing after going through parental discipline. The mother said she had to discipline her daughter after she was caught at an area known to be dangerous for young girls.
Brina katikona lo backside street kam. Na desla street ya mi plus topi mem lo knock and go. Kosinga tol drug body na olman sa rape molmeri lo desla street. Naim since mi pla movie go lahap lo 9 Mile igat for pla incident bin come up lo girls. Mi only mem go inside lo house, mi lock yol geta dona, mi kisi broom na, mi sticky mo leg blongem. Mi paiti lo leg blongem go on top, come down. O se mi paiti mem because se make it wrong all same. Hapu em no suppose logo em go longem. Them open him back door, em climb him des la first fence blow back door go down. Na ben em go lo fence gate, em climb over na em jump go lo narap la back street. Ke now that's where em disappear. So whoever you lim likli gele must bring him come.
And now looking at the NASFund market report, the Kina closed unchanged at $0.2850 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina was buying $0.2775 $, $0.3584 Australian dollars, $0.2240 euro, and 29.62 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York closed, gold is trading higher, coffee and cocoa closed higher, and copra closed lower. Palm oil closed higher, crude oil is trading higher, and copper closed lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 68.13 points lower. The ASX 200 is trading at 49.78 points higher. And the All Ordinaries is trading at 53.29 points higher.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The PNG Hunters will renew their rivalry with the Sunshine Coast Falcons in the Round 4 clash of the Interest Super Cup this Saturday. The Falcons are one of two Melbourne Storm feeder clubs in the ISC and will provide another tough contest for the Hunters, who are coming off victories in the last two matches.
The in-form PNG Hunters winger Brendan Gotuno will be sidelined due to a double arm fracture. The 25-year-old Gotuno, who has been in electric form for the Hunters, sustained the injury in the third minute of last Saturday's 26-14 victory over the Mackay Cutters. Following surgery on Monday to repair the fractures in his forearm, Gotuno is expected to be out for the next 8 weeks. Taking his place on the wing, while also making his Intrust Super Cup debut, will be 23-year-old Norman Brown. The Hela wingman fullback, who played in last season's Digital Cup Grand Final victory, is no stranger to pressure matches, as the Hunters will take on the 6th-placed Falcons at Runaway Bay at Bycroft Oval. Hunters coach Matthew Church expressed his delight with the start of the season that sees the Hunters in 4th position after 3 rounds. Church stated that this Saturday's match against the Falcons will test the Hunters, taking on a team that consistently finishes in the top half of the ladder. Falcons will also boast some NRL experienced players and will surely question the Hunters' resolve in both attack and defense. Huxley Lovai, Trukai Sports.
With new COVID-19 measures by the Office of the Pandemic Controller coming out on Monday, sporting competitions will still be on lockdown, with the controller stating that all competitions be on hold. For the Digital Cup Papua New Guinea semi-professional competition, they have a few contingency plans in place in order to get their season started this year.
We will see to comply and wait until the next announcement or next orders come through to see what we can do. But on the back end, we've got plan A, plan B, plan C, so to speak, aligned. So if plan A doesn't work, then we go to plan B, and that's mostly around dates as to when it can happen. The worst cases, we are looking at options to push the competition to back end of the year, into October, into November. Possibly December if need be. Unprecedented times warrant unprecedented measures, and we remain open and vigilant about it. So our COVID-19 protocols, which came off the Apollo project from the NRL, global standards, so to speak, and we've done it. We've run the games last year, no transmissions in the games, no contact tracing, no issues with COVID in the games that we've had. So we are pretty comfortable that we can be able to deliver and we can get over the line again.
And that story wraps up Trukai Sports. The weather details are up next.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
A look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region. Mostly fine, then possible inland morning fog in Port Moresby. Mostly fine weather in Daru. Partly cloudy in Kirima and Popondetta, and some showers in Alatau. In the Momase region, cloudy periods in Lake. Mostly fine weather in Wau. Cloudy with a few showers in Medang, Wewak and Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, cloudy with possible showers in Lorengau, Kavieng, Partly cloudy in Kimbe, some showers and thunderstorms in Kokoporabao and Buka. And in the Highlands region, brief evening showers, then morning fog right across the region in Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that's been Wednesday's news. Thank you for joining us. Be safe. Good night.